Do you like love? Are you a night owl? Then Late Night Love is a place for you. Since life is negative enough, here we discuss everything love. What we love, who we love, and why we love. So join us.
And thank you for joining us down another excursion through the stream of consciousness towards the river of love on the journey that we call life.
Yay! That was a good one. That was a good one.
One of these days I'll actually script it, but sometimes it's actually better to do these things unscripted. I think it becomes a thing right there at the start of the show. Do I screw it up or not?
What's he going to do today? We don't know.
Do we screw it up right at the jump, or do we actually get through 5 minutes of the show before I start tripping over myself or having to do something like this because I forgot to pop open my can of frosty drink here before the show started like I meant to, but I got distracted. Anyway.
And that's a soda, by the way. That's a Dr. Pepper. That's not a beer.
I want them to give me a sponsorship. Anyway, so you people call Dr. Pepper, say I'm their biggest fan. It's literally the only thing I drink, and that they should throw me money just because they're nice people.
Yes, they are. We should reach out to them.
I should show them my stack of Dr. Pepper empties.
Yes,
anyway.
In the kitchen. That was quite a surprise to walk in and see all that.
Yeah, but
I know the back sink is broken, so you can't use it to empty your soda cans.
Yeah, the old pipes rusted through. It has nothing to do with the fact that that's where I take care of old soda cans or anything. That can't have anything to do with it. No. We told you it was going to be silly. I said it right in the title of the show. The day it was Saturday Night Silliness.
Saturday Night Silliness. Yes, it's about what's going on.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult time for a lot of people in our audience. I think we actually reached 6 countries, so we get all the way to Uganda.
Oh, we do! Yay!
Yeah. We have 6 countries: Ireland and the UK, and so to all our listeners around the world, we want to thank you for taking the time with us. It's kind of a cool thing. And I should have made the list. And I can pull it up. I'll pull it up here on the break. We'll take a short break, and I'll pull up the information. We'll say thank you to the countries who listen to us on the podcast, because I think it's kind of cool that we have a worldwide audience. You're touching somebody in some way across the world, because the way it's calculated on the podcast, it's the regular listeners, and so it's from Spotify. So anyway. I think that's kind of interesting.
That's very cool.
So that's neat.
Thank you.
And so,
thank you for listening.
And during this time, those of us in the Northern Hemisphere are hitting the cold season, and it's kind of the depression season, and there's a lot of worry about what's going on in the world. This whole COVID thing, and is still kind of sitting on top of people's heads. And we're not going to discuss that directly, but we are going to discuss the fact that many people are struggling with their emotional and mental health right now. A lot of people who didn't used to have emotional health problems are now having emotional health problems, and many people who used to have emotional health problems are now having mental health problems. And we've seen, not just here in the United States, worldwide suicide rates are skyrocketing. And the social isolation, most of us are social creatures. Not everybody can live their lives holed up in a cave. Those of us introverts, oddly enough, and I'm an introvert sitting here on the thing, but that's another discussion. I'm an introvert, and so I can sit relatively long periods of time without a whole lot of human interaction, as long as I have those 2 or 3 people who I love and care most around me.
Yes, me too.
And so, for us, we have the strong support system we need to get through this period of time. For those that don't, this is a tough time. And, a lot of people are looking for something to, help them through it. You can watch it. The long-term strain is starting to wear on people. And then it's the Christmas season. We've just gone through Thanksgiving, and despite lots of travel. Most people actually didn't travel. It's just you notice those who did. And so, people are disconnected. And it's a sad thing. But I think we, as the human spirit, we will push through. We've actually gotten through worse things in human history. This probably won't rank in the top 10, to be honest, if you really think about it. Those of us who understand human history, just in the 20th century alone, you could probably think of 10 things that we went through worse. All the wars and the famines and the political upheavals, tens, hundreds of millions of people's lives ended in a way other than they would have chosen, shall we say.
Yes.
And things like abject poverty, while still a serious issue, had almost it had become pockets. It was no longer a widespread thing. There were pockets that were hard to deal with because of political instability or something. It was no longer our ability to get them food. It was other issues. And that's a huge human advancement. And, we get so caught up in our day-to-day lives that we forget how far we've actually come. I see people talking about this as this is one of the darkest days of human history. And I say, y'all don't understand human history if you think these are the darkest days of human history. Yes, they're hard for us because we are modern humans and we're used to modern life. And it's twofold. That comes twofold. We're used to problems being solved quickly. And we're also not used to having to deal with this type of thing. 100 years ago, we had the Spanish flu. We actually kind of dealt with it kind of the same way, but more people died as a percentage-wise. And, life went on. It didn't leave a big, huge scar, but we were only 30, 40 years removed from where death at 30 was a common occurrence. And so now the fact that death at 75 is still considered young.
Yes.
75 used to be old. 75 is now young. 80 is not an exception. 80 is kind of the rule almost.
Yes.
And so and it's a good thing that we have these raised expectations. I don't want anybody to misunderstand me, but we should remember that we are a fragile species, just like every other species on the planet. We have our weaknesses. We can conquer all kinds of things. We can kill the major predators. We can change the environment. But nature has its way of balancing the world out.
Well, I think it's that feeling of powerlessness and feeling overwhelmed that it gets to me sometimes. And I have to take a breath, and realize this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And I have to just take a deep breath and one day at a time.
Yeah,
sometimes 1 hour at a time.
And it's not easy because some people have businesses shut down. Their livelihoods have been taken away for nothing they've done, just because, that's kind of what's happened. And what do you do? What do you tell them? You have to go lean on their support systems, and you have to hope that, they have enough. And I think hope is starting to wear thin.
Hope is starting to wear thin, yes.
And, I know there's some hope for a vaccine, but I think people are skeptical. I think
some people are, yes.
I think a lot of people have become skeptical. I think people are skeptical of the rest nature of it. I am. I'm not against vaccines by any stretch of the imagination, but my children were part of a vaccine trial, and I know how they go. And so I'm, man, they've created one, tested it in 9 months. That's rushed. And some of these are new ways. And I don't know. I suppose if you have comorbidities, maybe it's an issue. If you're young and healthy, maybe you don't. It's such a hard thing to know to what to do.
Oh, it's such a personal decision. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, it's because apparently the vaccines are no joke. They've created their own severe case response. It's just they don't produce the death response. So what do? You still get 15% still get really sick.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how many, the literature I was reading didn't tell me what percentage actually needed medical care of that 15. Like right now, I think COVID on average is 3%. If you're in the elderly care, it's something like 10% of people who get it need medical care. But it's hard to follow because it's such dependent. When you look at the worldwide data, it's so hard to know because all different countries count them differently, and you have different health factors in different countries because it seems like obesity and diabetes is a large factor, which means in places like the United States and Denmark and other places that have high issues with the diabetes, they're going to struggle than in places like Southeast Asia where diabetes is essentially non-existent. And then some countries and some cultures have a different view on deaths, and so they count deaths differently. They're very strict on how they count COVID deaths. If you had diabetes and were overweight and you died from COVID, they said you died from diabetes, not from COVID. And here we say you died from COVID. I'm not saying one way is right or wrong. I don't know the answers to that. That's a cultural answer. It's not really a scientific answer. Both ways have value. And which one you prefer to look at is going to be a cultural decision. That's why some of these places have such wide disparities in the way they're counted. It's because the way they're counted and the strange way that health works on this. If you have a young population, you're going to do better than countries that have an older population, simply because of the way the numbers work.
Yes.
So, but it's a hard time. The point of all that discussion was these are difficult times and there's no clear answer. And that makes it very unsettling for a lot of people because a lot of people want to go, just tell me something solid that you can hold on to, and there's not much there. And people can sense that. They can feel that. And then you have their political leaders saying one thing and doing another. And what are you supposed to do at that stage? As an individual, trying to get through life, trying to protect your family, trying to do what's right for your community, trying to piece all that together at once. You get frustrated and it starts to take a toll. And I think during this time of giving, this time of remembrance, this time of thankfulness, this time of giving, let's not forget to give to ourselves a little bit.
Yes.
Let's be kind to ourselves. Let's give yourselves a little self-hug every day. Say, it's okay to feel this way because there's a hell of enough reason for it. And then you just start trying to make your life better, one little bit at a time. I know I am. I've changed a little bit. I'm trying to make the world around me, the little environment that I can make better, trying to make better every day, trying to do a little bit to make the life around me a little bit better. The whole political campaign and let a bunch of stuff slide because it's mental taxing. And so, you're trying to pick all that back up and put it all back together along with starting this project. And you've got all these things to do. But, I've got to remember to take some time for myself. I hadn't been doing that, and so I have to focus on giving myself a little more time, catch up on some of that, and then be careful going forward. Because I'm no good to nobody when I'm mentally exhausted and I can't make decisions. So, I think it's the lesson for everybody to, be mindful. and love yourself a little bit.
I like the way you put it. If you don't take care of yourself, you're no good to anybody.
No, if I can't make decisions, then I can't put stuff together properly because I can't make decisions, and there's lots of decisions to be made. So keeping a clear head, or as clear a head as possible during all this process, and it's hard. And I'm not the only one going through it. Jesus, there's millions of people whose lives are changing, and it's all changing as rapidly as possible. And we don't know what life's going to look like in 6 months. And so we're all just kind of stumbling through this, doing the best we damn can. And I think all of us need to take a break and say, it's okay to feel unsettled. It's okay to not always be feeling like you're handling this properly, because what the hell does properly mean? How do we know? Well, the humanity has gone through this before, sure, but they've never gone through it the way we're going through it now. They've never had this complicated set of interactions, worldwide interactions, where we can literally talk to the world.
Yes.
And so at the same time, the whole world is going through this thing at once, when before it may have taken 3-4 years to get just halfway around the world. And it happened in 3-4 months. So, the age of the jet plane. Anyway, let's get off of that. We promised silliness. So, I want to get off of that. But before we get off of that, if you would like to help us on our journey, you can go to would you please go to our Patreon page? It's patreon.com/late night love. And we have, there starts at $3, $3, $5, $10, and $20 for various special perks of each level. For $3 you get to talk to the Leminator. For $20 you get to kind of hang out with us behind the scenes, and stuff happens in between. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. And please do us a favor, subscribe and like to us on all this on your social media things. You can follow me at Jazzrock on Twitter. You can talk to Lubby at the webpage on the webpage, on the Facebook page. Facebook / The Late Night Love.
I'm ready.
Because despite there not being a page, the Facebook page called Late Night Love, we can't have our name being Late Night Love. So who knows what the hell happened there. Someone must have had it relatively recently and it hasn't cycled back to available.
Bummer.
Who knows? I could ask Facebook, but at this stage, you gotta have to keep it. It's just The Late Night Love.
The Late Night Love.
Facebook /
Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook me.
Yeah. But we're also on all the other ones. We're on Minds. You can find us on Minds. You can find us on MeWe. There's one more that I'm forgetting because there's a million social media things nowadays because it's splintering. So anyway. Okay, so all done with all the promotional madness. So now we're going to talk mother-in-laws. Wow, because how much fun is talking mother-in-laws?
Well, I have an article here, 10 signs you have a toxic mother-in-law and what to do about it.
Toxic mother-in-law. Oh, man. I'm going to have to put that in the description while we're at it. Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay, let's get going here because we got 10 of them. Okay, 1, she ignores personal boundaries. You've explicitly asked your mother-in-law not to post pictures of you on your social media account, but she does so anyway. Now, I wouldn't make that a hill to die on, but I just keep going back to the well on that one. You know, I mean, or at least ask her if you can pre-approve the pictures that you have of yourself on social media, if it really bothers you that much.
Yeah, I guess. I just live my life so open, I just don't care, so it's hard for me to relate. But I suppose if you're a really private person, you don't want, or there's a reason for you not to have your picture on it, and your mother-in-law is just being a pain in the butt, there's either being thoughtless or vindictive. It's one of the two. It could be either both. But I suppose fake addicted mother-in-law is like something out of a comedy movie. You know, a Disney
They
comedy
exist.
movie.
They exist. This
Oh, yeah, I know
one,
they
this
exist.
this says, this article says, that your spouse may have to be maybe roped into this one at some point as well. I see no reason to get him involved at that point.
Well, theoretically, you shouldn't have to get him involved. He should get himself involved. But that's theoretical. It could be a difficult relationship between him and his mother anyway, if she's like that historically. So if she's just kind of an overbearing person. And
I didn't think it was that a hill to die on, here again.
well, probably a hill to die on. Probably not, but
I'd save those.
But it would be one of those things where you just limit the amount of opportunity she has to get pictures of you, I suppose, which is annoying, but it also gives you an excuse not to spend time around her. So there you go.
Tell her I can't hang out with you. You take my picture.
Yeah, if you're going to keep showing my pictures, it's fine, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, that's making it a hill to die on.
That's not dying. That's just setting your personal boundaries.
Setting boundaries. All right.
It's different. It's how you do it is the difference. I mean, you're not threatening time with the grandchildren. You're just saying you're not going. You're saying you can't see your grandchildren. That's going too far. You're saying I can't spend time with you except on rare occasions because that's all. That's the difference. There is a difference. One setting boundaries, the other's being a dick. Or a bunghole, or whatever you want, a euphemism.
Okay.
There's a difference.
How old are you?
I am Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole.
No, not Beavis and Butthead. I can't believe you just did that.
I said it was Saturday Night Silliness. All right, what else?
All right. Offers unsolicited advice. For example, John actually likes his underwear folded this way.
I don't think John gives a rat's butt about how he likes his underwear.
Well, you could do two things. You could go, thanks, and do it that way in front of her.
Yeah.
Or you could just go, thanks, and blow her off and do it the way you want to.
So you're saying throwing the underwear at her is not an acceptable response?
No. Here, you do it.
That's what I'm saying. I will, too. So, what? It's clean.
You would too, yes.
Yeah, I would. Which is why no one would say that around me. So I don't want to be putting these damn things away anyway. So that's sweet that his ass can fold them. That's what I would say. But to be honest, I'm not entirely for the example. It's a dumb example because I'm not entirely sure there's that many men that actually give much care about how they're.
Well, this isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about Mommy knows best attitude.
Yeah, well, if Mommy thinks little Johnny cares about how his underwear is folded, she don't know little Johnny very well.
Oh, okay. Men don't really care how the underwear is folded.
No, well. I can't speak for all men, but as a rule of thumb, it's not something that's high on our list. No. Well, some of us fold it. Yes. How will we fold it? The way someone taught us to fold it. That's how we're going to fold it. Whoever happened to teach us first is how we're going to fold it until we feel like changing, because we forget and start folding it some other way. Or you're like me and fold it differently literally every time you fold something.
You do. It's maddening. Towels turn out all cattywampus.
I just fold it. I just look at it and fold it. I don't have a way of folding. I just fold it. Because it's folded, ain't it? What do you want from me?
I'm happy you participate. Okay, here we go. Number 3, cancels plans last minute or shows up unannounced. Now, showing up unannounced, that's a hill I would die on.
Well, I'm assuming that this means it's a routine habit, not something that just happens on occasion. So, yeah, I don't know if it...
I wouldn't answer the door. I'd tell her, I'm sorry, I wouldn't be, I'm not going to, or answer the door. I'm sorry, if you're busy, you're busy.
Well, see, in the olden days, it was actually acceptable because you couldn't just call somebody. You couldn't send them a text message. You couldn't do any of that stuff. It was harder. If you were out and about, you couldn't call someone. You didn't have a cell phone. Back in our youth,
Back in our youth, yeah.
Back when phones still had cords, and you're driving around, and hey, I'm driving by on the freeway.
Okay, now just to qualify this is a habitual. This is not a one-off.
Yeah, okay, but what if she happens to be on the way home from someplace?
If it's a one-off, that's fine. That happens.
So anyway.
But if you're habitually coming over on the side and you're just dropping in all the time, and how can you have time to have alone time with your spouse?
Hey, thanks for showing up. We're going for pizza and a movie. See you later. She'll stop coming over. Think. I'm being flippant because I called this Saturday Night Silliness. But no, these are serious issues and how you deal with them. Because dealing with, the other person's parents is hard because they're parents and they're family.
Yes.
And it's a lifelong relationship there as well. It's just not in the house, hopefully, necessarily.
Yes.
So it's difficult. There's no clear, sadly, like so many things with the relationship, there's no clear answers. You kind of have to muddle your way through it as best you can. But, I think you should remember that they're family. And they have idiosyncrasies just like you. And maybe the reason they want to see you is because they're lonely or because they like you. Now, it doesn't mean you don't set your boundaries, but maybe it changes your mindset while you're setting them. And maybe it's the...
Well, yes, that's something to think about. I mean, you don't want to exclude them, but a healthy balance.
Yes, well, there's a difference between someone who's
we're talking
kind
about.
of deliberately toxic and someone who is toxic because they're reaching, wanting something, wanting to fill something, got empty nest syndrome, and they don't know what to do with it. And you're the one who happens to live close, and so they're going through a tough time. And so there's different reasons. And, if you should you always have to be the bigger person? Should you always have to be the one who helps navigate these things? Probably not, but life ain't fair. If you're the one who's self-aware enough to notice and to be able to navigate these these relationships and help people become a little bit better at navigating these things, and you can help them have a little bit better life, then it will help you have a little bit better life. It's not fair, but life ain't fair. You know, the mindful, those who are self-aware, those who take the time to understand themselves and the world around them, you know, it comes with a cost. And the cost is responsibility. You have to now make choices what to do with that knowledge, that wisdom. Are you going to sit on it, or are you going to use it? Are you going to use it for yourself? You're going to use it in a selfish way, or are you going to use it to help the world? These things have to be thought about. Anyway, as we go on, so I went on a long philosophical honest. No, wait. We are going to stop and take a break, and it is actually going to be a quite quick 5-minute break today. We are going to take an actual break, so we will be right back.
We're taking a
And we are back. Thank you all for joining us. What?
You put back at 10:40 on there. You want to take that off?
Oh, now I'm going to have to do that whole entrance thing again for the people on the podcast. You know, you make it so hard. There. All right, hold on. There we go. All right. Jesus. And we're back. Thank you for joining us again. We have been talking about toxic mother-in-law. So what else you got over there?
Okay. She buys inappropriate gifts for your spouse. It's your spouse's birthday and your mother-in-law gives him something super intimate, like sexy underwear, or something very expensive, like a trip to the Caribbean just for the two of them. You know what? I would stay the heck away from all of this. It involves him. It's his mother. Let him deal with it.
Yeah,
That's their relationship.
Yeah, don't judge other people's presents. And if he gets a trip to the Caribbean for him and his mother, well, so I mean, maybe it's kind of annoying, but so what? I mean, unless again she has a history of being toxic. If that's her personality quirk. Now, if someone's got 4 or 5 of these listed, then you've got an issue. But if they just have one of these,
Right.
Then
it's just a quirk.
Then it's just a quirk, and you have to find some way to deal with it. If they've gotten a handful of these things on this list, then it becomes an issue. Or if someone's just being vindictive, and you can tell. You can tell when someone's just being kind of clueless or being the way they are. And when someone's being vindictive, you can tell.
Yes.
Yeah, most of us can tell anyway.
Okay, number 5. She gives you gifts, but the strings attached. Your mother-in-law buys you clothes that she approves of and pressures you to wear them in your presence. Well,
that's just mother-in-law, isn't it?
I think they just do that.
Yeah, I think that's just mother-in-law. I think that just happens when people become. Yeah, I don't know. That would make it again, unless it's a number of things. If that's the only thing, can be count yourself blessed as lucky having a decent mother-in-law and move on. Yeah, because guys have to. Oh crap! Your mother gave me a sweater for Christmas last year. Which one was it? So we can wear it for Christmas this year. That's what guys have to go through every damn year. Because we don't know. We don't remember who gave us the gift.
See, I was raised that that's what you do, though.
Yes. But, and some people weren't. And so it's when those cultures clash, it becomes an issue. Most people don't care that much. And so they'll kind of, okay, it makes her happy.
It makes her happy.
It makes her happy. Once, twice a year, I'll bust out some shirts you bought me. The problem is most guys aren't going to remember.
We'll remind you.
Yeah, see? So.
Number 6, she's always right without exception. When you and your mother-in-law have a disagreement, no matter how trivial, she works tirelessly to ensure everyone, including your partner, takes her side.
Well, isn't that I won't say that because I'll get in trouble.
Just let her. Who cares?
Well, I was going to say it's kind of a trait that, it is what it is. The matriarch of families has that habit. And it's kind of a thing. It's no different than the old man sits at the head of the table regardless. The elders, it's kind of the same thing. And, and from a male perspective, we're going, yeah. Have y'all been married to yourselves before? You guys always have to be right in every argument, even when you're wrong. You still have to be right. And so now you're complaining that the mother-in-law is. Well, welcome to the club.
We don't all do that.
No, you don't all do that. But enough of you do that it's a thing.
It's a thing.
You don't. But the question is, you don't do that now because you're a human being that grows. Did you do it in your 20s or 30s?
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was a bossy. I was bossy. I was a know-it-all. But I let my mother-in-law have the last word. I was raised right.
Yeah, well, because there comes a point, someone's going to have the last word, and you might as well just.
Who cares?
Yeah. At some point, it becomes I've said my piece.
You've said what you have to say. Move on.
Yeah, it becomes.
Doesn't really matter. Here again, hills to die on.
Well, once something becomes circular, then you're just arguing to be arguing, and you might as well just move on.
Right.
But yeah, that's. I'm sorry. From a man perspective, yeah, welcome to the club. It's just first time. It's just we've been here before. It's like what's that meme where the guys are sitting there, with the noose around their neck, and the other guy scoring. It was first time because apparently it's from a movie. Some guys got hung before him, doesn't die. So he's like,
oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So there's a goofy meme about it. All right.
Number 7, straight up ignores you. Okay, that's just passive aggressive.
Count yourself lucky if she,
I just wait for it to blow over.
what the hell? Hey, wait, she ignores me? Sweet.
She'll get over it.
No, sweet. I hope you don't. Sweet.
No, I would be antsy about it.
That's the difference between men and women.
Until it was over. But
then
what are you going to do about it? Are you going to make her talk to you? You can't make someone talk to you.
You don't want to talk to me? Sweet.
Shit.
Solve all my problems. Thank you. Success. Yeah. Well, again, maybe that's the difference between the kind of generic man and woman. It's like, she's not talking to me. And the guy goes, she doesn't want to talk to me. But she's kind of a pain in the ass to talk to. Yeah, well, sounds like you're winning. Sounds like you're winning.
Sounds like you're winning.
Just saying. If your toxic mother-in-law refuses to talk to you, ignores you, sounds to me like you're winning. I don't know what more you want on that one.
Number 8, she's impossible to please. A mother-in-law is often judgmental, rude, or dispenses criticism with no regard for how it's received. She comes over to dinner and says, these mashed potatoes are too gloppy for me. You know what? Then don't cook for her.
Yeah,
if she's just a little curmudgeon, and we've all met them, that they're just not happy people, and I kind of feel sad for him.
Yeah, there comes a point where it's just, she's gonna find she's not happier unless she's complaining.
Right. So that's just her.
Yeah, in a sense, she knows you'll accept her long enough so she can feel comfortable complaining. I mean, there's something
it's
to
a
that.
Backhanded compliment.
Yeah, it's just
she feels comfortable enough with you to do that.
She feels comfortable enough to be herself, where she doesn't have to kind of self-censor. It's I don't think she means this as a backhanded compliment, but technically speaking, psychologically, it might be.
Yeah,
it may be her. She doesn't know any other way to reach out. She's trying to connect as best she can, and that's all she knows how to do.
That's sad. But if this is what you have, this is what you have. And, it's easy to take it personal in the moment.
Well, especially if you're going back to generations whose entire lives was keeping the house. Everything with their whole lives were judged by how well they kept house. They didn't have a career. They were raising their kids and keeping the house, and that's how they were judged. And so it's just like, an electrician will judge the work of other electricians. A carpenter will judge the work of other carpenters, not in necessarily a mean way. It's habitual. And so, someone who's a professional housewife will kind of accidentally judge people based on that standard.
I see.
You know, and quite frankly, some of us like lumpy potatoes.
Yeah. Now, this one always creeps me out. Number one, behaves differently when your spouse isn't present. To me, that just creeps me out. I just wouldn't hang out with her.
Yeah. Well,
If she did that, if she was nasty every time you stepped out the door, I just wouldn't hang out with her.
yeah. But what if she was kind of snippy when your husband was around, but
That's their thing.
and then was as sweet as pie the minute you guys were alone?
Well, that's a horse of a different color. I don't know. That's a really tough one.
Yeah. What is? Yeah. That's. I mean, it
I'd
happens.
call her on it. I talked to her about that. Hey, it really hurts my feelings. I noticed this happens. Is there something I'm doing that?
Well, one, you could just take it what it is. You know, she necessarily doesn't like you, but she's willing to play nice in front of her husband. And so the key there is, okay, fine, I get it. I'll just not be around you, not around her husband. I think you actually have that one right. If she's mean, now if she's kind of snippy and judgmental or something in front of your husband, and then is nice as pie and treats you like an equal when he's not around, that may be something you have a conversation about over tea to figure out, okay, well, is there a reason you're doing this?
Yeah.
It says, you know, hey, it's fine by me if there's, you know, whatever. He's your son. You can deal with him how you want. But
but you're upset with me.
The other way around. If she's being nice to you, because if she's being a penis to you,
if she's being nice when he's around,
no, if she's not being nice. If she's being snippy and judgmental when he's around, kind of the underhanded comment, you know.
Yeah, I'd ask her, what am I doing? Am I doing something?
No, well, why would you ask her if you're doing something if she's nice to you when he's not around?
But I'd still ask her, am I doing something around your son that irritates you? Am I doing something with him?
It's not you, it's her son. It's not your relationship with him. It's about her relationship with him, not you.
Do you think so?
Yeah. If you take the son out the equation and then she's perfectly nice, it's not about you. Not everything is about you. As lovely as you are and as much as I love you, the world doesn't always revolve around
I didn't understand your question.
If she's snippy and judgmental when your husband's around, and then he goes around and now she's nice as pie and he treats you like an equal.
Yeah, okay.
It's not
then
about
it's
you.
Then it's him.
Yeah.
It has to do with him.
It has to do with him. Hey, it's fine by me, but why do you do that? And, you know, she's probably got some reason for it. And it's habit, probably, I would suspect. She had to keep on him as a teenager to get him to get through school or something. She just forgot how to not.
She hasn't shifted gears yet.
Yeah, she forgot how to not. You know, we're all kind of freaking human. And speaking about being human.
Okay, I have one more to go.
Okay, one more. All right, let's go.
She gossips about you to family and friends. Well, oh God, of course she's going to talk about you. You're her daughter-in-law. She's, you know, it's her family. She's going to talk about things that go on in the family.
Did a man write that?
I don't know.
Because that's like a man doesn't understand that women gossip. It's not even gossip. They just talk.
We talk about our day.
Y'all
what
talk
happened?
About
Yeah.
Y'all will talk longer than your day is long. I don't understand what the hell you all can talk about. Someone can go to a 3-hour event and you guys can find some way to talk for 6 hours about it. I don't understand it, but okay. Guys, that's a 20-minute conversation tops.
That's if it's complicated, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. But the relationship, people who are relationship focused will talk about the relationships. And the fact is, at least she's talking about you. What is it, the red green thing? When they went and listened to their wives having their monthly meeting, and he said they didn't talk about him at all. It was all upsetting that they didn't talk about him. So, hey,
No.
at least she was talking about you. Yeah, she may think you're a shrew, but at least she's talking about you.
She's talking about you.
You're living rent-free in her head. Look at it that way.
Okay.
All right, so we've got this other thing. We got the tool and this on this Saturday night silliness, because while this is silly, it's not.
It's not. It's serious.
It's a serious discussion. So there's an article. I think it's in Slate. So you guys can go check it out. Just the other day, November 29th. So it's an article about this mother whose daughter came down and asked for. Now I never know how they pronounce it because I don't actually listen to this. God, I'm so old. She says she wants, what is this? Is it WAP or is it WAP? Anyway, what she wanted is waffles and pancakes, because that's what she heard. Because there's a song by Cardi B and the whole WAP thing, and it means her lady garden is well watered.
Okay.
But the daughter here, the 11-year-old girl, heard it from somewhere. Someone else's parents told her it meant waffle and pancakes. Or one of her friends said her parents said it meant waffles and pancakes, which isn't as bad as the other one. Some other person's grandmother told them it meant wishes and prayers.
Oh, geez, Lou.
And so this parent, she had to tell her 11-year-old daughter an appropriate way to what that whole Cardi B's song meant. Gonna have to listen to it and see. I suppose it says WAP.
Well, I suppose we do have to listen to it.
One of these days I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
But just to figure out how they're saying it, just so I don't feel so goddamn old.
Oh, geez, old,
I'm
man.
old. And I sound like I don't like modern music. I listen to it all the time. It's just I'm listening to it, 3 years too late. 3 years after. I'm just 3 years slow. That's all. But because it's an interesting discussion, what do you tell an 11-year-old over that? Because in the modern world, it's going to happen. So you have to kind of decide.
11 years old is a little young for that. But if they're hearing it among their friends, if this is going around, then I always felt obligated to tell them the truth.
The most truth that they can comprehend.
Yes.
I think was always mine. And I always tried to go a little above. I always tried to push their comprehension levels. I always told them I try to treat them a year older than they are.
I remember that.
And it gave them something to strive for. Whether it worked or not is an open question, but we'll see. Define works, I guess.
Well, they're all fine now.
Yeah, they're all good human beings. So I suppose that worked. But
yeah.
They all felt empowered to be themselves, I suppose, and that was. But anyway, the question is, how do you address that? How do you tell an 11-year-old? No, what it really means is this woman is overly excited.
How do you tell? Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the song is really about a woman who becomes overly excited, shall we say, and is using that as her best quality. It's not a woman's empowerment song, quite frankly.
No, see, that's a lengthy discussion.
Yeah, hey, knock yourself.
But you have to try and concise it, because 11-year-old, you're gonna lose them pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a difficult discussion. I mean, because you're gonna have to use some euphemisms, because you don't really want to
be graphic.
But you're gonna have to be honest about what it really means, because you're gonna have to tell them what it actually means.
Yes. Yes.
And then you're gonna have to tell them why it means what it means.
Yes.
Now the question is, are you going to have to actually get into a whole
Well,
discussion of the song. I
well,
suppose that
you
depends.
can always I always gave my opinion.
Well, because
Now, I don't think, or I do think that, I don't think that this is a flattering way to portray young women. You can always put your opinion in there.
yes, but you also don't want to stifle a young woman's potential sexuality. You don't want to do, and so you don't want to necessarily condemn the fact that she's that the artist is someone who enjoys expressing her sexuality on a regular basis. Now, the song itself, because I've only read it, I haven't actually heard it. I read it, I haven't heard it, and so you don't know how there's a difference.
Right.
And so I don't want to be overly judgmental, but man, art can be art. There's places for it. You should hear the stuff we used to listen to when I was a teenager.
Well, there's that.
And so, I'm not going to be a prude and say that, the artist shouldn't be writing what you want to write.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
It's just the question becomes how deep of a conversation can your child handle?
Do you really want to?
In analyzing the song, rather than just saying that doesn't mean waffles and pancakes. It means
something else.
A young woman is sexually excited.
And that's all you got to say, and just leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that is one way you can have the discussion.
Or here's an idea. You can ask them what they think of the song.
Yeah. The kids aren't going to want to sit there and talk to you about the song, though. They're just not. So the question is.
Yeah, but you got to ask questions.
I've always came to let them ask me questions, but they've always managed to figure it out. But it's an open thing. I'm not sure. It's a hard question, but you shouldn't be afraid. As parents, we can't be afraid to tackle these things. There's actually, in a sense, there's not a wrong answer.
Well, there's no right or wrong answer here.
No.
I mean, you have to
Can we
know
say
your
wishes and
child.
prayers is the wrong freaking answer? Except maybe it's not. Someone says it's not my place to answer that properly, so I'm going to have to. So they came up with something on the spur of the moment. We'll give somebody a break. I'll cut somebody some slack.
That's grandma. That is actually what it means.
But I mean, if someone catches someone off guard and they come up with something just to move it on,
then
I'll cut some slack.
Of course, it's not your place to
answer that
say.
Fully.
Yeah.
Now, the best answer to that is you're going to have to talk to your parents about that. I can't answer that question. It's not my place. And I've had to do that. Because sometimes it's not your place. And especially at 11 years old. 16, maybe it's a different question. You can, a little bit older, 15, 16 years old, maybe you can have a little deeper conversation with the child who's not yours. But at 11, send them to their parents. Turn around, march that way.
Really?
Ask them. I ain't touching that. But, it is a hard thing. But I just think of the songs that we used to listen to. So I can't be Mr. Judgy Wedgy over here about the music that they're listening to.
Well, no.
Well, because I'm back from the days of Too Short and Two Live Crew and all these kinds of things. And let's put it this way. The music today is tame compared to some of that stuff. It just is. And that is, we got 5 minutes left. So what do we want to have to end this on? Oh, we do want to, as we end the show, we wanted to point out and thank our listeners. We got listeners from the United States, as it says here, the United Kingdom, Nigeria, Ireland, and Germany, And we can find Finland on a map.
Finland.
And Finland, we have regular listeners in Finland. Or a regular listener, probably.
That's just amazing. Thank you, everyone.
And no one's going to get the Finland on a map reference unless you happen to be a sports night nerd. So, it is what it is. But it's one of my favorite TV shows. It's in the pilot, so that you don't have to watch the following. You just watch the pilot.
It's in the pilot, right?
Yeah. So it's just the first episode. They can't find Finland on a map. So. Anyway, I want to thank you. It's pretty cool that we have listeners around the world, and it's our voices. You put your voice out into the ether, hoping that you can bring a little bit of positivity, a little bit of understanding,
a little bit of love,
and compassion. There's a lot of lonely people out in the world on normal times, and in these times, there's a need for more love. There's a need for us to focus on the good things in life. It's not just that time of year where we become thankful for those around us who we love, what we love, and all these various goodness that surrounds us in life. We have a difficult journey. Life is never easy. No one gets out of it unscathed. And so we should be kind to ourselves, to those around us, to those we love, and even to those you don't. Because hate in your heart only hurts you.
Yes.
And so, the reason you forgive is not for the other person, it's for you. And that includes forgiving yourself.
Top of the list.
Top of the list is forgiving yourself. And if you can help us on our journey, please do us a favor. Click all the subscribe buttons. Find us, share, follow, subscribe. Do all those good things. You can join us on our journey at patreon.com/late-night-love. For as little as $3 a day, you get to talk to Lubby and help choose
$3
topics.
a month.
$3 a month. Yes. Did I say a day? I did say a day.
Yes, you did.
Oh, well, that'd be confusing. For $3 a month, as little as $3 a month, you can join us on our Discord server. You can join us, and you can help us choose Daily Dose topics. You get to get topic selection. You get to have
really looking forward to that.
You can help with some topic selection. And so from our family to yours, we thank you on this journey down the river of love to the Bay of Tranquility. Sea of Tranquility. See, I screwed up. I almost made it all the way through, right to the end. Thank you for taking us along this journey down the river of love to the Sea of Tranquility, to the dark of night. Good night. We love you and love everybody.